Hi, welcome to today's video. Today's going to be a regular kind of run-of-the-mill catch-up of what I've been up to in the Hobonichi Han. But I thought I'd also show you what's been going on in my sort of everyday carry book. I made some changes recently and I feel like something's clicked with me doing that. Maybe it's sort of fulfilling a need that I didn't necessarily know that I had before. So I'll have a look at that first. So the everyday carry book is a A6 book from Muji. So I've got like quite a collection of notebooks that I have gathered over the years, and my aim is to try and utilize all that collection as much as possible as like my everyday carry book. So this is like the first one of the year, and once I've filled this out I'll just like grab another one from the pile. They vary in size and stuff, so a few are like pocket size and A6, which is probably the most practical for taking out and about, but I do have some bigger ones, some A5 books for instance. Those I might put in cases as well. So for example, I've got like a plaid Hobonichi cover, as well as this one just to the right of me. So the Muji book, I've got it in a Hobonichi cover. So this is one of my A6 covers from last year. The reason I have used this one particularly as opposed to my pale blue Have a Nice Day one, which I probably had on my A6 more frequently, is because I get the advantage with this of the pocket. I had a bit of a tidy up of this actually just before I started speaking to you. So in this book I've been using a sort of dot colour coding system, but with the new layout that I've been trying, there's kind of like less of a need for me to do this. It will still come in helpful, but I don't feel the need to like carry the dots around with me. I'm just going to have them on my desk and I can colour code stuff when I'm back at my desk after having been places. But yeah, in the pockets I've got a couple of my business cards, a couple of loyalty cards, and then some stamps. So those are the types of things that I might reach for out and about. I've got a business card at the back from a small shop. This I can use as a ruler in here. And on a similar vein, I've got a Hobonichi pencil board from a couple of years ago that I've trimmed down, and like a pencil board type of thing that I've made for myself. So they're more rulers than anything. And I think it's quite nice that these poke out a little bit so I can see a little bit of the design on that one. So yeah, mostly this book so far has been daily to-do lists, and then occasionally there'll be a list of a different sort, and that's when the colour coding will come on. This book's not really decorated very much. If I see a meme that feels relevant or there's a sticker that I want to lay down, then I'll put it down. But generally it is much more of a sort of practical space. Then what I decided to do the tail end of last week, I think it was just after I finished filming last week's video, I'd spoken in that about, and it wasn't something like I planned to talk about, it just kind of came up organically. I kind of touched on how I'm really drawn to more minimal spreads sometimes, and there's a few people who are in the Hobonichi A6 this year who will just have like a to-do list and then maybe a sticker, and how that's quite nice. And I thought, well, this is A6 size. I could essentially do a page a day for myself, and with very kind of like minimal effort. So I just drew that out on a Friday, and I've continued it on the next few days. So to achieve this, let's just clamp that because it's flapping up a little. I've just made use of some stencils. I got a set of stencils from The Works, which is like a UK like stationery and bookshop. So I got this set, and it came with some bigger ones as well, but they're too big for this book. And then my Uniball pen. And it's also been a way for me to utilise the different colours of ink on here as well. So I use this slightly bigger one for the day of the week, and then I use this smaller one to mark the date. And then something that I quite liked the idea of, I don't know if I saw it somewhere or it just popped into my head as a way to use the space, is towards the bottom having like a one-line summary or a couple of word summary of what the main thing was that day. I think particularly like last week I was flipping through my books for quite a while to find the date when I'd last filmed, and I thought it'd be a good way to sort of save time with that kind of stuff. But also if I've had like a particularly long to-do list that day, the red text is just like a very quick visual thing for me to go, okay, yeah, I did stuff around the house on that day. So yeah, essentially I draw out the day, draw out the date, and then I'll put the stencil here and use that as my ruler to draw a line. I've mostly been using my mild liner, this grey line, but sometimes if that's not been within reach, I've just drawn it in with this black ink. And below the line go any like appointments or things that have a time linked to them. And then at the end of the day, when I do my normal sort of journal entry, I just put a sticker down. And I think this is going to be a nice way for me to use the stickers that might not otherwise kind of get used. So, you know, sometimes you might buy a sheet or a set of stickers and you'll like, or really, you know, be into like 3/4 of it, 2/3 of it, and then there's some that you're less bothered about. So I've been putting those down, and my decoration in my Han normally will be linked to what I've been doing that day. This is much more random. I literally go through my folder and pick something out. So I'll just show you what the last few days have looked like in here. This has also been kind of a good way for me to use sort of quite a leftover washi. So if I've used some tape in my Han, but maybe I've got like an off cut or a bit that didn't quite rip off right, I've just been adding it to the bottom here. So yeah, I'd say there's elements of this that are kind of reminiscent of bullet journaling. For instance, you know, crossing off tasks when they're done, doing a little arrow when I'm shifting it forward, that sort of thing. So it's somewhere between, you know, like a daily log and a bullet journal type of thing, but in a very low effort way. And like yesterday I was working on my zine project. My title for today will probably be filming, because I'm struggling with some health stuff today and I'm not sure how much more I'm going to be able to do. Even this is kind of a bit of a struggle today, to be honest. Normally the title would go above the line, but because I had quite a long list here, I put it below the line on this day. Yeah, and I'll just keep doing that, but I've not like drawn up lots of days in advance, because if I suddenly want to write a packing list or some notes from a GP appointment or whatever, then I will just turn to the next day, put a dot sticker down, and that's still there for me to be able to find it. But the majority of the pages will be these pages of page a day. And although theoretically, like these sort of tighter lists here are a better use of the space, you know, I'm packing more into page. I like the negative space. I think it's quite good for my brain. It helps make the information a bit clearer. And then also, I don't know if this is going to be like a silly thing to say, but also I will use the book up quicker. So it will mean that I get to like enjoy all those other books that I've got stashed away that bit quicker. So that's what's going on in here. This isn't a book I show much, but given that there was like a development in how I was using it, I thought it was kind of worth sharing. And also, I think what was quite nice is, you know, I got inspired by how people were using the Hobonichi A6, but rather than me being maybe a bit like short term in my thinking and going, oh yeah, I'll grab a Hobonichi A6, particularly because like the spring releases of the Hobonichi stuff just come out. I was, instead of just doing that, I thought, well, how can I utilise what I've got to kind of mirror or emulate the elements of that I like? So I felt like I was kind of creative with it, which is good. And now to look at the Han. This is feeling like really chunky already, and it's only February. I think the buzzword for me this year is going to be bulk. I'm still like quite nervous about the idea of how thick and fat this is going to look by the end of the year. Now I will say this probably feels and looks as chunky as it is because I do have like a traveller's notebook zip wallet in here, and I've got a couple of spare notebooks, but nonetheless, you know, we're looking quite thick. I really like this cover, but I sort of decided that I would use my plaid cover as like my spring summer one, and I'm going to like swap it over towards the end of February, beginning of March, and I am looking forward to seeing how my book looks in there and how I like working in the book within that cover. It's kind of like I could change into it today if I wanted to, but there's something that makes it kind of feel special about putting it off for a few weeks. I'm also with that looking forward to kind of what I do with the pockets and stuff. So just very briefly overview of what we've got in here. Like I said, I've got the zip wallet, so I've got some inserts for reading logs and film and TV logs. I've got some printed book covers and film posters and stuff for the things I know that I'm like gonna watch soon or read soon, ready to stick onto these logs. I've got some dot stickers at the back here. I've got some index cards that are printed off, and I've just slipped in here the card that came with this Pop Mart figure. I've had this for a little while now, but I just spotted her on the side, and it's called The Spring, and I'm definitely more of like an autumn winter person, but I think we're at the point in February now where I'm sort of kind of sick of the grey, and feeling a bit of sunlight on my skin would be quite nice. So I'm looking forward to the spring. So she's here as like the little mascot for the springtime, and I've just slipped that in here because it's something I'll want like kind of at the forefront in my pockets, I think, when I do move into that plaid cover. And then we've got the Han, and then at the back we've got my like spare extra notebooks. When I do move into the plaid cover, I think it's just going to be the Han itself. There's not really going to be any room for any extras, but then I'll keep this cover kind of nearby on my desk so I can grab these extra bits and pieces inside. So we've got Gloomy of the Week. I don't know if this is going to be a feature, but Gloomy of the Week is from the Ghastly collection from a couple of years ago now, and this one is called Ouch, and the song is Pet Cemetery by the Ramones. And I picked this figure today because this week, sorry, because I'm feeling quite in the wars with health stuff. So yeah, this sort of bandaged up figure. The other element of that is on Pocket Camp, I recently got lucky as a, it's not a villager on there, but like a camp resident, and I've made them like my supporting person, and they're wrapped up in bandages as well, so it links. Let's go forward to the calendar. So here we are with February. We're looking a little blank towards the end of the month, but I anticipate I'm going to have a few bits and pieces go in, and then it's probably going to be like next week that I start looking at sort of adding a little bit more decoration. This kind of first full week was really quite busy, and then it's calmed down a little bit since then, which is something. I've not decorated for March yet. Maybe I'll do that later. Like I say, I'm not feeling too great, but actually it might be nice to spend some time in my books doing some decoration later. That'll be a nice thing to do, I reckon. And then let's flip forward to the weeks. So this is how last week finished up. So we had a black, white and red theme in here. Fair bit of things stuck in, lots of sort of black and white images. I added this strawberry in right at the last minute just for a little pop of colour, which was fun. And then this is the current week. So we've got my trackers at the bottom here, and normally I'd be putting in, you know, cinema with a friend here or doctor's appointment there, but this week at the minute is looking quite clear. So I might end up doing some sort of collage across here. If we get to the weekend and nothing's gone in, and we've got my media tracking down here. And I showed you last week, I've done a few weeks worth of decoration in advance. And this is how kind of excited I am about the gingham plaid. I'm not going to forget, but I've added myself a note in about changing over approximately at this point in time. I don't know why I did the air quotes for excited. I am excited. I didn't need to do that. So yeah, if you want to see a bit more of a breakdown of what these look like, go and have a look at last week's video. And then onto the sort of daily pages. So I showed you last week absolutely loads of Commonplace entries that I did. And then I've kind of taken my foot off the pedal since that, because I don't want to just completely fill the book up. And I've not felt the inclination to Commonplace quite as much because of stuff I've got going on in a minute. So I'll show you what I have worked on, and then I'll show you the sort of daily pages from the last week or so. So I think this is where we left off in terms of the Commonplace. I started my entry on Falling Water, which is a house over in Pennsylvania. A couple of images here, and then we've got a quote here. Obviously the cover page for March is blank, and then I finished up writing about it. And I also then wrote an entry about organic architecture. And something that you might spot that I've changed is I've adjusted how much of a margin that I've got. So through January and February, I was using the Hobonichi invisible line as the margin, and that's had its pros and cons. The main thing I found is that I think one of the reasons I flew through the pages as quickly as I did is because I am only writing in, this much off the page. And when I did have comments to add or additional notes, having this spare margin place was really helpful. However, what I found, I'd say more frequently than that, is quite a lot of empty space and feeling a need to kind of decorate for the sake of it. And there's a couple of pages that I don't like decoration wise, but a lot of it I do like. But I thought to myself, actually, if I have this smaller margin, it's there to write things in if I want to, and I'd probably be inclined to write this way if I was going to write any notes. But then, as I have done here, if there's an image that actually feels pertinent that I really want to be a part of it, I want to be maybe a bit more intentional about that. And if it's wider than the margin, that's absolutely fine. I'll adjust how much, text is on the page to account for it. So yeah, I think it's just about using the space a bit better. So rather than using the invisible line, I just grabbed my ruler and lined it up and just did that. I've only done a few pages worth, but it seems to be working so far. So yeah, decoration wise, these pictures were pulled from the Wikipedia for Falling Water. This was an image that I found on Pinterest of like a mid-century house with some mid-century furniture in it, and it kind of links to the organic architecture philosophy. Got a sticker here from Stamped and Sealed Co, which is just a branch of eucalyptus. And then like a little bit of a different sort of approach to the decoration from what I've normally done in here. So organic architecture is about making a building or structure like fit in and integrate with the landscape naturally, so it almost looks seamless. Sometimes you see buildings built in areas and it just looks like an eyesore, and I think, crikey, what's that doing there? So the idea of it being part of the landscape, using natural materials, using minimal and environmentally friendly materials. So rather than this decoration being explicitly images of that, like the previous two pages, I kind of went more with the philosophy or the themes of it. So we've got this washi in the background. I cannot recall who the artist is. I'll try and pop it up on the screen if I can find it. and that kind of had a mid-century feel to me. We've got a pencil from Megan Rhiannon, and obviously talking about architecture, so I was thinking about like blueprints and drawing those up. We've got like a sort of scrappy bit of paper stick here. That's from Oliver Mabel with their collaboration with Bronte. And then we've got this Protect Park sticker with some plant life on, and then some birds as well. So that idea of not having a detrimental impact on the environment when building these buildings and structures, that's kind of why that's there. And that's as far as we've got in terms of the Commonplace thing, side of things. If we flip back to kind of daily pages, so this is where we were last week. I put in this big Yoshitomo Nara sticker because we were going to go to an open mic that night. As it turned out, and I feel like I might have jinxed this slightly, I put this down and I was thinking, what if we don't end up going to the open mic? And then I put this massive sticker down. We didn't go in the end, but it's still cool, and I think it fits quite nicely with the kind of blue-green tones of this. And I've just added this Megan sticker here. Next page, you know, my normal entry, my normal writing. Decoration-wise, I had an order arrive from Stacey McKeevy-Cornt. She's the person who I bought some of her washi tapes a few weeks ago now. Is that right? My sense of time is weird. But here we go. I've done a little bit of a spread about the tape I bought. Turned out she, subsequent to that, had a sale. So I placed an order with her directly. So this sticker is just off the parcel, and this is like a business card that's got this nice illustration on the back. So I decided to put that in. Daily entry we've got here. So the sticker here kind of is more relating to the Commonplace stuff, but I like kind of the overlap. And here we've got a house sticker from Bones and Blankets Co. And the cobweb is also from them. This is because this was the day we went to our old house for the last time. We did the last like little bits of cleaning and things, and then we handed the keys back. And then I just added this sort of zombie / Frankenstein's monster piece hand, just because it kind of fit the vibe of those. Next up, I've got a tip-in. So we watched a film, well, it was a 2-part TV series, so call it what you will. And it was called Brian and Maggie. I didn't enjoy it very much, but I made some notes on it. I've still got to stick the picture in here. And I finished the Luminaries, and I still need to add the author's name. I don't know why I didn't do that. I've not put the release date for that either. I'll come back and do that. So yeah, we've got my notes, and we've got a picture of the front cover, and then I've also added this Kill of You sticker. No spoilers, but there is a creature in the book that is snake-like, so I've added that in. And then this sticker here is a Marigo Nasunu one, and it's just some books and stuff. So I spent quite a bit of the day reading because I wanted to get the book finished. So that's there just because of that. The decoration on these 2 pages is all linked to the Commonplace stuff. So I talked about it last week, and then because the images were quite dominant and quite big already, I didn't want to add anything else. So the daily entries are just the text. Did add in this washi tape just because I had an awkward couple of lines left in the sort of Commonplace section. And then we're on to today. So I feel like, particularly compared to last week, I think this week's video might be a bit shorter. But that's where we are with things. I think it's serving me well. I think, you know, if I'm going to start thinking about and reflecting on things, because I'm sticking in a lot, I do wonder if I'm going to come to regret getting my year in one. But I do love the Gingham Han. So although obviously it's only February, part of me to start thinking towards 2026, and I think maybe the Avec might be a smarter approach. But I do love having the Commonplace and the daily entries together. I feel like this is a really good setup for me. think there's been a couple of different books that have caught my eye lately. I think it's the Hemlock and Oak one that I quite like the look of from a planning perspective. So maybe at some point I'll think about, actually, do I want a planner book separate from this kind of thing? Like my calendar pages could get used for something else. You know, it could be, I like when people do just like tracking in here, you know, like the weather and stuff, or like a doodle a day, that kind of thing. But that's definitely me getting ahead of myself. Oh, something you might be able to help with. I still haven't spotted a February quote. So if you know of a quote relating to February that you really like and you think that I might like, drop it in the comments, because this space is still blank and we're about halfway through the month now. Normally I've found my quote by this point. If it gets to the end of the month and I've not found anything, then I will just Google it. But I think it would be nice, because anyone who regularly watches kind of like knows my vibes, knows the writers that I enjoy. If you know of a quote and you think, oh yeah, Alex will like that, let me know. And it might end up going in this little box here. Yeah, I think that's me for this week. Just a little cozy catch up. Yeah, like I say, I'm not feeling too great this week, so hopefully my voice has been fine. Hopefully this has still been interesting for you. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.